Today, breaking news out of Kojima Productions as they respond to X-Play on the Metal Gear Solid 4 NDA controversy. Got all the details in the gaming update.
Plus, we've got the final verdict on the Bourne conspiracy in our review, and the broadcast premiere of a new Saints Row 2 trailer that takes aim at Grand Theft Auto 4. X-Play starts right now.
Hello and welcome to X-Play, the show that quits with style.
Yes.
I'm Adam Sessler.
And I'm Morgan Webb. We're coming to you from the G4 Studios in Los Angeles on Thursday, June 5th.
Later on today's show, X-Play news producer Blair Herder gets some FaceTime with Playboy Cybergirl Joe Garcia. And we'll go head-to-head for the latest on Prince of Persia and fan favorite Beyond Good and Evil.
Plus, we've got your all-access look at End War, the game that puts you in the middle of World War III for what could be Tom Clancy's best game ever. But first, let's get the day's top headlines and the gaming update.
In breaking gaming news today, Kojima Productions assistant producer Ryan Payton contacted gaming blog Kotaku in response to my latest Sessler soapbox, expressing deep concerns about the review restrictions for Metal Gear Solid 4. After graciously noting the opinions I expressed in my latest episode, Payton confirmed that as of today, several restrictions from Konami's NDA have been lifted. Reviewers are now welcome to discuss the length of the game's cutscenes and are also free to comment on the game's install times. Payton also confirmed the game requires an 8-minute install, as well as a number of 2 to 3-minute installs between acts. However, some things still cannot be discussed. No review can mention which cutscenes are particularly long, the content of the game's opening movie, product placement within the game, and spoilers. Thank you so much, Ryan. No one wants to spoil the game, and with this all resolved, I can just look forward to playing it. Next, during an interview with Eurogamer.net, Insomniac's president Ted Price revealed that new improvements to Resistance 2's game engine should allow them to eliminate any and all loading screens. Price did not comment on whether or not the game would require an install to the PS3's hard drive to pull this off. And legal attorney Jack Thompson may have to consider looking for a new job. During a disciplinary hearing, the Florida bar issued its recommendation for the lawyer to receive an enhanced disbarment. If passed, the recommendation would disbar and prohibit Thompson from applying to practice law in the state of Florida for up to 10 years. An official report from Judge Dava Tunis is expected to be submitted to the Florida Supreme Court by September 2nd. And finally, after denying Tomonobu Itagaki's claims of unpaid completion bonuses, Tecmo's share price has dropped over 10%. GameSpot.com has pointed to a drop in the publisher's share price from $10.40 at market close on Tuesday to $9.27 as of today. Tecmo is clearly not happy with Itagaki's decision to make this news public and has released an apology to their customers, stockholders, and business partners. Well, that's it for today's gaming update. For the latest news, be sure to check out our website, g4tv.com/xplay. But now let's go over to Morgan for the latest on the game embraced by Gary Busey.
With the success of Grand Theft Auto 4, I'm sure many of you are wondering why you should consider playing Saints Row 2. THQ, they're aware of the situation, and we've got the broadcast premiere of the new trailer addressing all of your concerns.
Would you rather go bowling or steal a septic truck and spray loads of sewage on pedestrians? Would you rather go to the cabaret with a friend or inflict serious bodily injuries to your friend to earn a little insurance money? Would you rather watch TV within the game you're playing on your TV? Or dress up like a cop and rob a liquor store? Streak in public? Join an illegal fight league? Or run security for local celebrities? Or base jump? Car surf? Trailblaze? Compete in demolition derbies? Barnstorm? Or tons of all-new activities that totally kick ass? Now we know you're out there doing those other things right now, and that's fine. But when you're done, we'll be right here, doing some crazy
Wow. Still feels like someone brought a slingshot to a battlefield, though. All right. Ubisoft recently announced that they're making a game based off of their movie that will be based off a game. They're looking to expand in a big way and teased us with the trailer for a sequel to a great game that no one played. What exactly is going on at Ubisoft? Well, we're about to go head-to-head to find out. Third-party powerhouse Ubisoft is making some big moves in 2008. At Ubi Days Paris, the company just unveiled a brand new Prince of Persia game, teased Beyond Good and Evil 2, yet was silent about that status of Splinter Cell Conviction. Aside from games, the company also plans to spend $1.2 billion to acquire development companies, as well as venture off into other multimedia outlets. Are these moves a step in the right direction for Ubisoft? And will they be the company to beat this year? Joining us today from San Francisco, the Vice President of Games Content for IGN, Mr. Tal Blevins. Welcome. Good to have you.
Good to be here.
And also joining us today, Executive Editor of Previews at the One Up Network, Mr. Garnett Lee. Thanks so much for dropping by.
Absolutely, Adam. Thanks for having me, man.
So, Tal, when you were out there in Old Gay Paris, there was one big reveal at that Ubisoft event, and it was Beyond Good and Evil 2. We had heard it might come, but the original game wasn't that successful. What's behind Ubisoft's thought that this one might actually, connect with the gamers out there?
Well, it was a fan favorite. It was one of those games that everybody who played it, even though it wasn't very many, everybody seemed to really like it, kind of call it the next Zelda, really. It's a franchise that I think is, it's in the hearts of gamers. And I think Ubisoft really saw that and were like, you know what, let's give it another chance. I think Michel Ancel really wanted to go forward with the project. So even though it wasn't a commercial success, I think they want to see if they can get it going now with word of mouth.
Now, Garnett, obviously we don't know much about this game at all, but do you think that the time is right for Beyond Good and Evil to actually really find its audience it didn't find before?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I'm just excited to see it. I think that even Ubisoft, many people there were excited to see it. It seemed like that came up to the stage almost as a sort of, hey, we actually got this together in time. And it's really interesting, the approach. I mean, we had this neat game that had this colorful style, very aquatic and spacey. And here the trailer they showed us is out in the middle of the desert with this abandoned car and the pig working or just actually taking a nap at the front of it. It's neat stuff. I'm really excited to see what they're doing with it.
Now, Tal, another game that's obviously been shown off is something we're very familiar with, and that's Prince of Persia, but it's definitely gotten a much different look and a much different approach to how the gameplay is going to go. Is it essential that they move in this new direction, or do they just decide to try something else?
Well, I'm kind of wondering myself because they have the movie deal coming up. It really looks like the lead character looks like Jake Gyllenhaal. The secondary character, in my opinion, looks like Natalie Portman, so I wonder if we're going to hear an announcement about that. But it really seems like they're tying into the movie with this one. It's also cel-shaded. You have it's not co-op, but you kind of have the companion character in the game taking you around. I'm looking forward to seeing it. I'm a big fan of the Prince of Persia franchise, so I'm looking forward to seeing it. But I'm kind of interested to see how the whole companion character combo fighting is going to work out, since it's not actually a co-op game.
Now, Garnett, with Prince of Persia, I think I also may have heard Ubisoft say that there may be even a secondary game attached to the film that Bruckheimer's making, in addition to books, comic books, and all different types of media. Are we ready for a Prince of Persia saturation?
I think that's really up to them. What they're doing here is a neat literary trick, which is that they're removing the part of the prince and now making the prince into more like this universal concept of a character that can be molded into many different vehicles. So, yeah, we can do comic books, and we can do movies, and we can do games. And I think it's exciting, at least from the game standpoint, of being able to see a whole nother sort of Arabian Nights themed game that still has the tie back to Prince of Persia, but can go in a new direction and isn't, tied to everything that's come before it.
And Tal, obviously there's one game that's very notable for its absence. That would be Splinter Cell Conviction. We had actually seen it, a while ago. It went quiet. We still haven't seen anything. Any sense what is happening with this game?
We haven't heard anything about Splinter Cell in a while. I imagine we'll hear something at E3. But I think, it's Ubisoft's tactic. They know they have a valuable franchise on their hands, and they don't want to just rush another game out and perhaps, ruin what Splinter Cell could become in the future, especially since they paid so much for the Tom Clancy license now. I think they're just being really careful about it and want to make sure it's as polished and as good as it can be before they release that.
Now, Garnett, on the topic of how much money that Ubisoft spends, they've announced that they have a $1.2 billion that they want to use to acquire other companies, a la what EA's been doing and what Activision has been doing. Do you think this is an essential move for them to stay competitive as a third-party publisher?
Well, I'm not really a business analyst, but I think that even if you're just casual follower of the stock markets, there's two places for business to be. You're either in contracting or you're expanding. And Ubisoft committing to going out there and acquiring new talent, bringing new studios in, is really firmly them saying, you know what, we're not going to be one of the ones that are acquired. We're going to be doing the growing. We're going to be staying large. And I like that because they've been very, emphatic about doing new IP as well as sequels. So I think that's a good sign.
And you know what? They really do have one of the most diverse catalogs I've seen out of a third-party publisher. Well, guys, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much, Talon Garnett. And now, let's head it back over to Morgan.
Jason Bourne, everyone's favorite James Bond understudy, just made his console debut. Now, the game is full of intense hand-to-hand combat, but does it deliver the same punch as the movies? Here's our review for The Bourne Conspiracy. After an entire trilogy of films, Jason Bourne has finally brought his expertise in bone-crunching combat to your home console.
You don't remember any of this?
Robert Ludlum's The Bourne Conspiracy is an adaptation of the events of the first film, with plenty of flashbacks to our hero's not-so-noble past. Who knew that your memories would be so heavy on MasterCard product placement? As you've noticed, Matt Damon's head has been surgically replaced, probably saving the developers a lot of licensing money.
You need money? I need a ride.
But that doesn't distract from the game's biggest positives: creative environmental attacks and remarkably good sound design. Thanks to these features, the feeling of combat is visceral and intense. But it's not all good news.
What's wrong?
Sadly, Marie, there's plenty wrong. The Bourne Conspiracy features stiff and simplistic fighting controls with only a handful of combos. The camera is jumpy and uncooperative, and thanks to squirrely gun aiming, getting headshots is tougher than getting a good performance out of Julia Stiles. There's a driving sequence that covers the Paris car chase, but unfortunately, the autos control like a bar of soap on a slip and slide. And even if you do happen to enjoy it, the experience is over in about 5 hours, a full price that averages out to $12 per hour of entertainment. And with gas prices these days, your money is better spent elsewhere. Robert Ludlum's The Bourne Conspiracy gets 3 groin kicks out of 5.
After the show tonight, get online for a chance to talk to a madman, though it's not me.
No. At 8:30 Eastern, 5:30 Pacific, you can get in on a live video chat with Code Monkeys creator Adam De La Peña.
Head on over to g4tv.com/codmonkeys and click on live chat to take advantage of this chance to speak with the hit show's creator.
Coming up on X-Play, we have an all-access pass to the most ambitious Tom Clancy game yet. It's N-War, the real-time strategy game that puts you in charge of World War III. Then we get some FaceTime with Playboy Cyber Girl of the Year, Joe Garcia, and run her through our gaming gauntlet. Stay tuned.
Stick around, I just might barf. Filter begins in 60 seconds.
Ready protection.
Hey everybody, I'm Olivia Munn, and the world throws so much stuff at you, you need a filter. When you work in Hollywood, you see more than your share of vomit. Trust me, that's true. Here's my list of the top 3 foods for horking. At number 3, pasta. From penne to fettuccine, noodles come up as easy as they go down. At number 2 on my list, corn. Those little yellow kernels add such playful texture. And finally, my number 1 food for vomiting, yogurt. I just like the fruit flavors for a fun pastel palette. Check out G4's new show, Hurl, premiering July 15th, right after our live E3 coverage. And visit me on the web at g4tv.com/filter. Until next time, I'm Olivia Munn, and I gotta live.
A JG Techno on the web.
They say Attack of the Show gets it before it gets out. Now, what is it?
I don't know what it is, but what Monica Lewinsky did for the cigar business is exactly what we're doing for the gaming and tech industry.
No. We definitely have it. People are constantly coming up to me saying, Kevin, how are you so hip and amazing? And I said, I don't know. Ask Jesus or R. Kelly.
Having it means being raw, frank, and usable.
Usable is not a word.
Read the Urban Dictionary much? Look one.
Attack of the Show, weeknights at 7 and 10, only on G4.
Welcome back to X-Play. Playboy recently crowned Joe Garcia their Cyber Girl of 2008. Along with this title comes a bevy of responsibilities like having some true video game chops. We tasked X-Play news producer Blair Herder with putting her to the test.
Last month, New York native Joe Garcia beat out over 50 other rival models on the Playboy website for the title of Cybergirl of 2008. As internet fanboys drooled, they were also the first ones in the forums to rush to judgment with a chorus of, "There's no way she's a real gamer!" Well, we thought we'd give her the benefit of the doubt and see what this video vixen's got. Garcia says she loves RPGs, plays PC games, and owns both the DS and the PSP. But for our gaming gauntlet, we were all about the consoles. First up on the list was a little Street Fighter action.
One of my favorite games of all time, Street Fighter 2. So I made them track it down so we can play it here on the Xbox 360.
Up next, we hit the Wii for some Mario Kart racing. Then it was time to test her hand-eye coordination on one of our favorite games of the year, Boom Blocks. Finally, we hit the slopes on the balance board for some Wii ski action.
So, to recap here, we ran her through the games gauntlet. We had her play the resident Street Fighter 2 expert. She beat him at Street Fighter, so fighting games, legit. Little Mario Kart, 3 races, 2 first place and a 3rd place, again, legit. And then we moved on to Boom Blocks. She's very delicate, but enough aggression with the toss to, again, be legit. And then we moved her to Wii Ski. Not so good at the Wii Ski, really good at the hip movements. I saw a lot of potential in that. A little more time, a little more hip.
You'll have to show me, Blair. How does that go?
That goes awesome. Oh, I thought you meant, we're done here.
For a good challenge and some real tension, step into the world of Rapture. The mere sound of a Big Daddy is enough to keep you up all night. But if you're gonna lose some sleep, BioShock's a great game to do it with. You want a recipe for a night of good gaming fun? Take 1 part submerged Art Deco Metropolis, add an objectivist madman, inject 50 cc's of genetic mutagen, and shake well. If any game deserves an obsessive start-to-finish playthrough, it's BioShock. After crash landing in the Atlantic Ocean, you swim your way to a lighthouse and take a bathysphere down to an undersea city. There, you're embroiled in a plot with more twists and turns and dark corners than a romp through the psyche of Andrew Ryan himself. I chose Rapture. You'll come for the first-person shooter-style action, but you'll stay for the thought-provoking story which touches on politics, philosophy, economics, and moral issues. Like the moral issue of whether you should cut open a small child to harvest the delicious atom on the inside. No. Fortunately, though, BioShock is less an interactive lecture on the beliefs of Ayn Rand and more a dark adventure through the bowels of the ruined city of Rapture. This is a fully formed environment with an artistic and idealistic ethos built into every nook and cranny. And jumping out of those nooks and crannies are the remaining denizens of Rapture, full of sumptuous detail and the kind of story you wish you could get at a summer multiplex. BioShock seems engineered specifically to keep you up all night. When X-Play returns, we have an all-access look at the voice-controlled World War III action of Tom Clancy's ENwar. But first, let's take a look at who rules the rink at today's leaderboard for NHL 08.
Up All Night is brought to you by Denny's. Nothing good happens after midnight, except Denny's All-Nighter menu.
The all-new season of Code Monkeys continues.
Financial situation
or all summer long.
Welcome back to X-Play. ENwar is the first real-time strategy game to fly under the Tom Clancy banner. It pits America against Europe, against Russia, in an explosive storyline that's not quite fictionalized enough to make me think it could never happen. Here is your all-access pass to World War III.
Well, I'm joined by Michael DePlatter. He's creative director for ENwar. A very, very impressive looking game. You're really taking a new approach to how a strategy game will work on the console.
Basically, our mandate was to do a Tom Clancy
war game on console, multiplayer focused. So we really could absolutely start from square one because we'd never done a game like this before. And we could look at it and say, how would a real general be in command of his troops? How do we put the player in that role? And so one of the earliest decisions we could do for that was to use the voice command. So you actually play the game as a real commander, giving orders to your troops and so on.
So are you moving around sort of, groups of troops, tanks? Like, what are the things that you're manipulating out there on the battlefield?
Yeah, that's exactly right. You're not controlling your units as platoons, groups of sort of 20 soldiers made up of 4 squads, or you're controlling companies of tanks, so groups of 4 tanks. So you're really controlling a full-scale battalion.
Now, there are some on-screen commands, and obviously there's the voice commands. What's the separation between the two?
Well, actually, you can play the entire game with your voice, or you can play using the gamepad, and we use controls on the pad that will be instantly familiar to anyone who's ever played a tactical shooter.
Now, obviously, you said that this game was designed with really multiplayer in mind. How is multiplayer going to work?
I guess there's 2 levels to it. One is the actual multiplayer game itself. So we can have 8-player, 4-player, 2-player. The team you're on, it's very much team-based. It's very cooperative. The other big multiplayer feature is that we have a persistent world multiplayer campaign. So World War III actually takes place in this giant meta campaign across 40 battlefields in America, Europe, and Russia.
Well, I can't tell you how impressed I am with the game and how excited I am to play it. Thanks so much for your time.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Thank you.
Tomorrow on X-Play, get some time on the front lines with our all-access pass to the next online sensation, SOCOM Confrontation for the PlayStation 3. Then, our Will Work for Game series goes inside the life of a motion capture director to see what it takes to bring your favorite characters to life. Plus, we'll show you the outrageous Fighting Beauty Wulong. It's the game that tries to outdo Dead or Alive, and it's definitely made in Japan. And next Friday, X-Play goes beyond the King of Kong to find out what happened after the hit documentary ended. We talk with Steve Wiebe about what's next, find out if he'll try to reclaim the Donkey Kong title, and show never-before-seen footage of his nemesis, Billy Mitchell. It all starts June 13th at a special time, 9 p.m. Don't miss it.
And we're also going to be telling you how to spend your virtual dollars in the download.
Thanks so much for watching, and I'm so jealous you got to see that game.
ENun's really cool. I mean, it's because they're not trying to do a traditional PC RTS and put it on a console. They're trying something new, which can be made for console controls or
and we'll
voice.
see if people who are really attached to PC RTSs like I am are going to be able to make the transition. Thanks for watching.
You still have your games.
I will.